Hi everyone and welcome to the BeJS Podcast. I am Aymen, the founder of the BeJS community and front-end developer based in Brussels, Belgium. Among other things, I love React and JavaScript in general. And today I am happy to announce that Elian, our little Belgian rock star, maybe even a techno star, is joining me as a co-host of the show. Hi Elian, and welcome to the show.
Hey, man. Yeah, how are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
A bit busy this week, but it's okay. Can
Sure.
you maybe introduce yourself to our audience?
Of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Elian. I'm a community engineer at Astro. I'm specifically working in the developer experience team. And I guess I'm a BeJS Podcast co-host now. So, hey. Yeah, I guess that's most of what I do.
Awesome. So today we have one of our biggest supporters. One of the biggest supporters of the BeJS community, Atila Fassina. Hi Atila, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Yeah, all good. You? You both are
fine.
good?
Yeah, I'm super good. Actually, I did think of you today. And I want to keep this a secret for both of you, so nobody's knowing what's happening here. But actually, Attila, you're kind of like the nail to my coffin as being a Belgian in my heart. And I thought of you today. I have something with me. So Attila, do you want to tell the people what actually happened at our first React Brussels?
Should I? I mean, are you okay? Can you handle this emotion?
Yeah. I will do my best, but it should be fine.
So for the ones of you who don't know, like on every BeJS event, so BeJS, React Brussels, I don't know about React Paris because it's gonna happen soon, but we usually, after the event, there's a day that we go and do something different, like all the speakers and the organizers. It's usually a surprise. Aymen and Omar keep it a secret until the last minute when if Elian doesn't spill the bean first, which happened in the past. But anyways, so in this time there was this scavenger hunt throughout Brussels with a lot of like Brussels specific stuff. We had to try chocolate, we had to try beers and stuff, and everybody would score points. And then they thought they would have it easy when they put all the locals in the same group. So it was Aymen, Elian, Omar. I don't remember your entire team, but you put
Antoine was there as well.
Antoine was there. So yeah, everybody that was from Brussels or Belgium were there, and they put all the expats on the other teams. And then there was like a very tight competition. There were like 3 teams that were cutting close. And the last question was, okay, you need to have a blind test of a specific beer from Belgium, and you need to guess what kind of beer it is or whatever. And I don't drink beer, which I don't know. I'm probably the last person to be talking about Star because I didn't even try the beer. But it was a very typical Trappist beer from Brussels called Chimay Blue.
It's not from Brussels, but yeah, Chimay Bleu. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, now he pretends he's an expert. So, and then what happens is that Elian was supposed to try and say which was, and he got it wrong, and apparently it was like a very big, obvious mistake.
Yeah, exactly. I got it wrong. I thought it was quack, and it was not.
And then Aymen never forgave him. It's been 2 years already, and if we bring this topic, Aymen gets angry.
Then we always want to fight. Yep. But to be honest, I like quack more than Chimay Bleu, which is probably a very wrong thing to say in Belgium. But yeah. It happens. Yeah, it was an awesome story. Thanks for sharing.
I will never forgive you, man. Never.
Yeah, I know. And if I remember correctly, it was also like 1 point difference. Like if we had it right, we would have won. Yeah. Very painful. But probably it had to do that we had to drink a couple of beers and I got all the others right. And then the last one probably was like a little bit too much. Yeah, so it's not entirely my fault.
Yeah, the funny thing is my team was 5 people. 2 of us didn't drink beer and didn't eat chocolate, and half of the activities were either tasting chocolate or drinking beer.
Welcome to
And
Belgium.
we still I think we
It's
got
Belgium
third place
after
or
all,
something.
right?
We got third place anyway. There was, I think there was like this very fancy chocolaterie that we had to go in and try some whatever kind of chocolate it was. And Philip, the guy, he's the creator of Urkel. He didn't even get in the shop. He said, "Yeah, I hate chocolate. I'm not going there." And we still got it.
First time I hear someone that hates chocolate that bad.
Yeah. That doesn't
I
happen
actually
too
have
often.
a funny story about that. I didn't eat chocolate at all before I met my wife, and
Okay.
then I didn't like chocolate. I didn't like chocolate.
Really?
Didn't like coffee. And then my wife started. Okay, you're gonna try every nice chocolate that I can think of because we need to find one that you like. And then so then I found some chocolates that I do like eventually.
Wow.
Is it Belgian chocolate? Because Belgian chocolate, to be honest, is very good.
I do like some Belgian chocolate. At that time, it was not. It was a Toblerone, white Toblerone, which people actually say you like that because the white chocolate is not chocolate.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's still like white chocolate, still like kind of my favorite. But I do
really?
like a lot of Belgian chocolates. Actually, I just cannot eat dark chocolate.
Too bitter, probably.
Yeah. I just immediately needs to drink 2 gallons of water.
Okay. That doesn't happen too
Awesome.
often.
Yeah, dark chocolate and passion fruit are my kryptonites.
Okay,
Okay,
passion
good
fruit.
to know.
Like,
I can use that against you now.
Are you allergic or you just don't like
No,
passion
I
fruit?
just hate it to bits. Like I had a tree growing up at my house, and I used to use because they're very like hard. So I used to use them as balls with my dog. So I just like throw them and say, "Yeah, go fetch." And like I didn't eat passion fruit. It was yeah.
Amazing.
I'm a weird guy. What can I say?
Welcome to the team.
Exactly.
Okay, so to start with the questions about coding, what we usually try to do is that we ask our invited person how they started their career, and actually not even their career. We start with the first thing. How did you start coding? How did you learn? How did you fall in love with it? Or maybe you didn't. I don't know.
So they actually all of that kind of started together in a way because I had a moment that I found coding for the first time because um, I went through university and like it was nothing related to that. I did in Brazil the name of the course called physical education. So essentially I was learning how to be a coach and sports science and stuff like that. So I
That's
had a
why you
gym.
have those abs, right?
I don't have it. Yeah, no, I don't. So I had a gym once upon a time, and when I was about to graduate, I realized, okay, I don't want to do that. It doesn't give me any passion. So my wife is a designer at the time. She was my girlfriend, and she was doing like a night college, because like in Brazil we have the federal university, which is usually one of the best, but then every now and then they go on strike, and then for a few months you just postpone your graduation date. My wife said, "Yeah, I really need to get to work," and then there was going to be a strike, so she started night college, and that was like multimedia production, whatever. And she just asked me, "Oh, you like computers a lot? Why don't you come with?" So I went there. I started doing the night college, and turns out I realized there's a lot of stuff that I hate, like 3D modeling, drawing. I cannot draw for like to save my life. But then there was one course that was about web development, and I really liked that. And I was enjoying. I was having fun. I wasn't entirely sold on it because it was like just basic HTML, pretty boring, using Dreamweaver and stuff like that.
Oof,
But then
old
there
days.
was this, yeah, very old days. So, but then there was this one time it was raining a lot and there was an event from the computer science course, and the principal just came to my room and asked my teacher, my professor, saying, look, there are a bunch of there are like a few people coming from outside the university and everybody's not coming because it's raining a lot. Can I borrow your students to make an audience? I went there and there was this talk about CSS3 with animations and stuff. And my entire class kind of fell asleep. And I was like, oh my God, I was beaming. That was so amazing. Turns out it was one of my friends now called Felipe Moura was doing that. He's one of the organizers of BrazilJS. And a year after that, I started working with him. That was my last job in Brazil. And yeah, so I went home that day and I said, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's what I'm going to. And then right on that day, I started studying. So that's how it was like one day, 6 months later, started doing some internships and stuff like that. And then rest history. Yeah. It's been.
Wow. So you say that you didn't actually get a degree in computer science or anything like that. You basically self-taught.
Yeah, completely.
Oh, wow.
So I immediately started studying by myself, and then I realized, okay, I'm just gonna go to every possible meetup and conference and whatever's free. I'm just gonna join and talk to people. So I started going to some meetups in my hometown, and I would just find a speaker and ask some question. So I remember there was this one time, friend of mine, Ricardo, really good JavaScript developer. He was doing. It was like now I'm gonna show my age now. He was giving a talk about CoffeeScript, and I was just starting at the time. And I remember he finished his talk, was like a, I don't know, 15-minute lightning talk, something like that. He came down from the stage, sat next to me, and I was like, okay, I had just spent like 3 hours trying to learn jQuery. Nothing was still making sense to me. And I just looked at him and said, oh man, do you think I should drop learning jQuery and learn CoffeeScript? Do I need jQuery with CoffeeScript? I started making all these like weird questions to him. And he just hold the laugh and actually taught me a lot of stuff. So I was this kind of nosy guy going through community people. There's another guy in the Brazil community called Jadson, which is the other organizer of BrazilJS. One time I didn't even knew him, and I came to him. He made something he invited people to help him translate documents, MDN entries to Portuguese. And I came to him and said, dude, one of the gigs that I do because I don't have a job is like teaching English. I don't know anything about JavaScript yet, but I want to learn and I know English. And then he just laughed and say, sit next to me. I know JavaScript better than I know English. So we help each other.
All right. You told me that story.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
so
crazy.
that's more or less how I started. That's why I like community events so much. And
Yeah.
one of the reasons also why I like BeJS so much is that it reminds me of that time. It reminds me of when I was starting and there was like this whole community of people. Like some of my best friends in my career were from those beginnings, were from me finding them coming out of the stage and asking them stupid questions, and they would not laugh at me. And I really like that. I really appreciate this. So, and I see that BeJS has this kind of vibe as well, where when I come out of the stage in React Brussels, people are coming to talk to me, and then more people join in, and everybody's helping each other and talking, and it reminds me of those times. It's not every conference that has this kind of vibe, and I really like it.
Yeah, exactly. I can definitely vouch for that as well. Like BeJS, React Brussels was my first ever like lightning talk, right? And it's so crazy. Like that boosted me so much. Like talking with you, talking with Tejas, and like I don't want to say like mentoring me, but kind of like taking me into the group of speakers, which for me was like at that time all the idols, all the greatest people, all the speakers. Like I shared the stage with Ryan Carniato and Mishko Avery that is crazy, that's insane. And now I can say like, yeah, I did that with them and they taught me so much and we talked all night about Angular and reactivity systems. I can say I was at 3 a.m. in the pub talking with Mishko about something reactivity related. How crazy is that? Or resumability. And I think that's exactly like the feeling. For me, BeJS is, or the BeJS community, like say React Paris and probably React Brussels as well. It's like coming home to a family that you didn't see for a couple of weeks. And you come home and it's like, oh, how have you been? And you have all night to share stories and talk about stuff. And the next day you just go on stage and you talk to your family. And that makes it so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember you preparing for that talk. I remember you was 11:30 at the hotel pub. You were still rehearsing. And you're like, wow, this guy is really committed.
And now I'm like 5 minutes before I go on stage, like making my presentation, adding slides, switching slides.
Yeah, now he's like a seasoned speaker. He goes like right before going to stage, he says, "How much time do I got? You have 5 minutes." Okay, I had like 30-minute talk, but I'll do in 5.
Oh yeah, that was a crazy time.
Oh yeah, I heard about the Berlin.
It was kind of crazy. The thing is that we were kind of caught on schedule, and you know the Germans, they're very strict in everything, and so everyone was kind of ready to leave and leaving the audience. So the audience was getting more and more empty. So I was like, it doesn't make any sense if I do my talk in front of no one except for speakers. They have seen my talk probably. So I should try to condense it and get it into a comprehensible format in 10. I think I did it in 7 or 6 minutes, and I really rushed through. But yeah, the good thing is that now I'm giving the full talk again in London very soon. So that's the good part as well.
It was still a really good talk, even in 7 minutes. It was good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed giving it. It was fun to have it all condensed down and just like, this is Astro 2, this is Astro 3, this is what's coming. And I think the audience could still follow and get like very hyped. Whoa, Astro is doing so much. Yeah, that helped me.
Awesome. Did they record the talk or no? Because
it's on YouTube.
I would really like.
I think it's not. I think it's not being cut into separate talks, but just like the full live stream you can still find. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a live stream at the day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have a look. So I wanted to discuss something that is very important in our field, and that's imposter syndrome. So me, for example, I have kind of some issues with imposter syndrome, depending on the periods, like it's way a bit more or a bit less. And I think that it's kind of a general issue in our very evolving ecosystem. So how do you cope with imposter syndrome? Do you have it? You don't have it? Or do you have techniques to kind of cope with it, or just ignore it?
Yeah, I do have a lot. I think pretty much, I'd say everybody has to some degree. What I try to do to myself, what I try to internalize is that, especially when you're creating content, like preparing a conference talk or writing an article or something like that, is that there's always value on a perspective. So that immediately validates whatever you're trying to do and whatever you're trying to say as content. And then when it comes to like technical expertise, like, I mean, everybody's going to make a mistake at some point and everybody's going to not know something at some point. What I do have is I like to identify like groups of friends where I can get them to basically review, or like in sort of a safe space, I'd say. And one thing that I do is, even when I think I did something really well, or I get praise, or I have very nice feedback about something I did, I do have a group of friends that I ask for like more harsh feedback in this case. Like I remember, like I do like sports a lot. I watch like NFL a lot, and I don't know if you like, probably most of you have heard of this guy called Tom Brady, which is the most successful quarterback in NFL. And most of most of the Super Bowl rings that he got, which is like the biggest championship in NFL, was with the same coach. And this coach is called Billy Belichick, and he's like super strict with everybody, to the point where they almost had like a perfect run as the New England Patriots at some season. And there was an interview that they would say, yeah, we just kept winning and winning and winning. But by the end of the game, by the next day after the game, Belichick would bring the videotape, and he would give us what we call the humble pie, which is essentially, okay, you won the game, you played very well, but look, this particular play, you messed up here and here, or you could have done better here and here. So I do like asking people for humble pie, and that's essentially, I think that helps me internalize that not every failure is complete, and as well as not every success is complete. So there's always something you can do better. And another thing that I try to help use a lot is like Jason Langsdorff. He wrote an article that I need to find the article, but essentially it's one about consistency being the key. So in this case, like, of course, the first time you do something is going to be crap. The important part is putting on the reps and showing up every single day. So like, you want to have a successful podcast, record a video, publish the video, a podcast or channel, whatever, record it and publish it. It's not going to be ideal, but then you do that again next week, and then you do that again next week, and then you do that again next week. And then at some point you reach a level where, okay, the quality I got is sufficient. I found a template where I can produce in this sense. And I think that's important, especially when you're putting your face on things. That's where imposter syndrome takes the biggest hit. My imposter syndrome is not that much when I'm like with my team doing code reviews, because I don't know, I do tend to have a good relationship with, like, close relationship with my team members, and I'm not that scared of messing up, I guess. But I consider that more of a safe space. That's what I'm trying to say. And then, but still, it's important to have this kind of feedback loop and try to put it in check. The best strategy is try not to listen to it. But then if you have some mechanisms to dodge them, it's also good. Like in terms of imposter syndrome and these intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, one of the things I was told often, and very much like I live by heart now, is that when I was a junior, I would say, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know this stuff. I know that stuff. Like, I know React. I know Vue. I know Solid. And now as a senior, well, I would say I'm a senior now. I would say, I don't know that. Oh, don't laugh at me because I say I'm a junior, or I was a junior.
I'm laughing at you because you're saying you think you're a senior.
Well, isn't that the whole thing? Like, being like, I don't know, or saying the famous line, it depends, right? Because everything is so hard, or is so specific to any situation. Whereas, like, I feel the same like you. I had so much imposter syndrome, and actually still have. But the best thing you can get is like reassurance from other speakers, from friends, from your family. Like, even my mom watches my live streams, and that's really cute, but I know she doesn't understand anything that I say. And I know actually it's very much the same for Aymen and his dad. True, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad is like the biggest supporter of BeJS and everything that I do. Like, he posts everything about BeJS, and he's like, yeah, you got that sponsor because I posted. Really? Like, I've been working on that for months, and now you tell me it's because you posted that?
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Attila, you mentioned... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something about imposter syndrome. One of the things that I really like to do in order to kind of keep my imposter syndrome in check is that when I do something like a really nice achievement or something, I try to kind of write it somewhere so that I don't forget, because we always forget the good things we did, and we kind of remember the bad things we did. And so every time that I have an achievement or something, I have a list of achievements. First of all, it's really valuable when you actually even apply for a job or something. They ask you, what are your achievements? Yeah, I did that and that. And also when you're on a bad day and you're like, oh my God, am I really a good dev?
Yeah.
And it kind of tells you, yeah, maybe today is a bad day, but actually 1 week ago you did that thing and it was really good.
Yeah, looking back on what you did previously is very important. Yeah. You see how much you've grown, I'll say it like that.
I like to like reward myself when I match like some kind of landmark. Like, for example, I don't know, I think when I got, 500 subscribers in my YouTube channel, my wife gave me, not this microphone, I already switched, but she gave me a microphone or something like that. So it's like this little thing where like I don't have a list, but then when I look at that, I say, oh, that was because of this, or this was because of that, and so on. So I do like this kind of like, or like, I don't know, sometimes it's not even something big, or, oh, I got like this job offer, so we definitely need to go to, I don't know, order a pizza or whatever it is that floats your boat.
Little celebrations.
Yeah, this little thing, even if it's just symbolic, if it's just going to the supermarket and buying your favorite candy, but something like that, so you can have this moment to remember, oh, I did something, and then you celebrate, even if it's for 5 minutes, and then you can go back. Otherwise, we just like get used to just, okay, did something good, back to work. But then whenever you, I don't know if I can curse here, whenever you F something up, you're just, and then you're there, you're like mowing that for hours and thinking about, oh, why is that different? We need to give our successes the same weight as we give our failures, I'd say.
That's a really good statement. That's very true. One thing I also kind of felt very strongly about when I used to start, and when I had a lot of imposter syndrome, was my age, right? I was 20 when I first stood on the stage, and I was standing in between people of being like 40, 45, whatever. And now I've kind of learned that age doesn't really matter, but still I was standing like as this little guy from Belgium, 20 years next to people working at Meta, working at whatever big company there is. That was really something hard for me at first, but I kind of learned to live with it right now.
Yeah, I think age plays a big role on imposter syndrome, either when it's like high or when it's low, and it is just a number for sure. I do agree with that.
But I think it also works on the other way around, like, because I'm pretty old, but when I see that, I mean, okay, I'm not that old, but I mean, compared to Elian, for example, I'm pretty old, and
well, anybody's old compared to Elian.
And so when I see like people at 18 and 17 and 19 like creating companies, and my goal when I was 17 or 18 was, how am I going to get drunk with my friends?
Yep.
So you're still doing that.
I'm still doing that, but now I'm doing it at conferences with famous people.
That's so true. So for the people in the audience, if you want to get drunk and have fun, become a speaker.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Or meet
we have great after parties. Or meet me. Yeah, that's a good thing
like,
as well.
There was this picture I posted on Twitter today with him with this like huge mug. That mug is 1 liter, or I don't know, if you're American, it's probably, I don't know, a foot and 2 toes. I don't know, like I don't know which limb you're gonna use. Like, I don't know those metrics, but it was like a huge mug, and we had this speaker dinner there, and at some point it was pretty late, or it was late for me. I have small kids, but and then I was leaving, and I just looked at him, and that mug was full, I said, that's not that's not the one I saw you drinking. How many did you have? He said, 3 and counting.
And I
was like,
remember you
dude.
telling me, remember you have a talk tomorrow.
Yeah, I did. I just said that. That was my ultimate dad moment. I looked at him and said, you have a talk tomorrow. Bye. And then I went to bed.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But I was there and I wasn't too late. I was fresh. I did my talk.
No, he was alive. That's amazing. I don't know how he does that, but he's standing the next day. I don't know.
It's probably because I'm young that I still can do that. Yeah. It was amazing.
And then on the next day after the conference, we went for dinner again and stuff like that. And then after dinner was like super late, and I was like, okay, I'm beat. And he's like, where's the party? Where's the party? I'm like, dude. And he's like, yeah, I'm going back home tomorrow. I can sleep then. I was like, that's not really how sleeping works, but okay.
Nah. The thing is, you're in Berlin. You're with speakers. You want to have a little bit of fun. I remember that day I went to bed at 4 a.m. and it wasn't because of a party. I wanted to go party. Everyone wanted to go party, but it was because of Rachel Neighbors from Clerk. They forgot their phone in the taxi. So I had to intervene and call, and yeah, it was crazy. But I had a great night, and after that we got drunk. So it was better. Better than a party. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, but
so
now, yeah, go ahead, Aymen.
No, I just wanted to ask Attila about the news that he shared this week. So I saw on Twitter that you joined the Solid ecosystem team. So congrats for that.
Thanks.
And
that's actually another story that started in a BeJS event.
Oh, really?
Okay.
With Ryan.
So what happened was, as I don't know, like you two that already know me, I think you remember that I used to do a lot of stuff with Next.js and React. I did a few workshops and stuff like this. But then with some latest things that happened with React and Next.js, I was like, okay, I do understand what they're doing. I don't know if I fully agree with the whys and the stuff like that. I don't know. And then I start looking, and I went to that. Sorry, I went to that BeJS, and I sit down with Ryan at the time and with Mishko as well. That was the conference we met them, and they were talking like so much about like resumability, about rendering performance, about virtual DOM and this kind of stuff. And I was learning, I learned so much from them at that time. And I don't know if you if everybody knew, if that's like common knowledge, but Mishko and Ryan are super friends, and both together they have no off button. There's no off switch. They're just, like,
wow. I remember, like,
it's just a machine gun.
It's
and
crazy.
It's super fun to watch and to participate, and then every now and then you drop some questions, stuff like that. And I got very much into Solid during that conference, and I remember asking Ryan, look, I want to participate. I want to be part of the community. Like, what can I do? What should I do? What do you need? And he's like, he mentioned a little bit of the roadmap, of the work they were doing and stuff like this. And what do you want to do? What do you want to help with? And then we had some conversations, and that was it. From then, and I came back and I started playing around with doing some samples and learning a little bit. Fast forward a little bit, I met Daniel Afonso, which is another very good friend of mine. And we were chatting just like we are right now. We were chatting at an after conference in React Norway. And we were both start fanboying very hard on Solid.js and stuff like that. And then I started talking about it and so on, and preparing some stuff. And then I did this conference talks last month or so. One of them was actually in BeJS, React Brussels. And yeah, like a Crab Nebula, we do a lot of work with Tori and stuff like this. We do play a lot with different frameworks because of Tori. Tori is this native framework where for creating native apps. So it's this framework where you have the backend in Rust and you can bring whatever web technology you want. So because of that, we play a lot with different frameworks. I started working on this app that we are very close to launch, actually, to help developing Tori apps. And the foundation of it is a web app. And then we had little conversations at the time with the team, and we decided to go with Solid for this. For many reasons. One of them is because I do like the community of Solid.js a lot. I already did before I joined. And then I got the opportunity to go to this live stream with Ryan. We had a few talks. I became already knew Dave for a little while. But then after this one, I started getting closer and we started working more closely together. And then, yeah, it kind of happened. So everything started with that little spark on BeJS, which is, I never actually mentioned that to you guys, I think, but yeah.
Oh. Look at Aymen glowing up this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've met Dave before as well, and he's an amazing human. It's crazy. Yeah, so friendly and concerned. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, and like the kind of ideas and plans he has for Solid.js and the community, they're amazing. If we get like the amount of hands we need to get this out quicker, it's gonna be amazing. So I'm really excited about the work that we have ahead of us.
Love it.
Like right now,
Really excited.
like most of the efforts are going towards the new docs, which I don't have like there's already Alien face is the best. We need to put that face on the podcast somehow. Like if you're listening to this without it, get a timestamp, go to YouTube and look at that. That was the best. Yeah. Anyways, so there's a lot of work going with the new docs content, and then which is already looking pretty good, I'd say. But yeah, so most of the work regarding content is going to that. We just re-recorded a video about like a quick introduction to Solid. There are a few more that we want to do. So there's a lot of stuff going towards education, helping people get started with Solid. Plus all the work most of you probably already heard of around Solid Start, with Vinci, with all the like conversations Ryan's having about routing and things like that. I do think it's gonna be really good, and I think it has a very nice point in terms of how modular it is and unopinionated Solid is. So the way it's coming out is that you're gonna have your Solid SPA that you just used V to create and stuff like that. And your app can grow with your needs to a point where at some way you might, if that's what your product's guiding you with the requirements, you end up waking up one day and realizing, oh, I got a full stack app now because I just added SSR and I added this and I added that, and I start like doing all the monkey patching, and that's basically how it works. You just connect different pieces. So at some point you start with just client-side routing, and then at some point you realize, oh, but I need server-side routing, and then you add the router for the server-side. And then at some point you need, I need a CDN, and then you add the routing for static assets, and then you go like building on top of it. That's how it's looking right now. So I am very excited about that. That helps me a lot on building like content that can be evergreen. And it also helps me a lot working with Tori, because essentially like one goal that I have for Tori is that you have a web app and you can ship for every platform from that web app just by wrapping it on Tori, and then it goes. Because Tori 2.0 is going to add iOS and Android. We already have all the desktops. So with Tori 2.0, you have iOS and Android. So I think that kind of connects like a bunch of nice things together, because how modular Solid is, it's the perfect match for Tauri, and the way that Tauri is agnostic about the front end allows it to bring the mobile story for Solid, which
Yeah,
is
I was
something
about
that they don't have right now.
Yeah, I was about to say it makes me think a lot of like the same values as Astro has, in the sense that it's very much like opt-in design, like you choose features and you add them on and on and on until you get what you want, instead of giving you like this bloated app and you just have to remove everything that you don't want. I really like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like, and I like a lot like Astro as well, specifically because of this reason, and also because it does it has like a very defined proposition, whereas I'm gonna get you to build content websites, and I'm gonna get you all the tools, and I'm gonna get you everything you need to build great content websites. And so I do like that a lot. And actually there's a lot of people, because Tauri is essentially doesn't have a Node.js backend. You essentially need to have static site generation for the web part. There are actually a lot of people that like to use Astro as the front end layer, because most of the data management, most of the heavy lifting is done in Rust anyway. So they can have something very lean with Astro, and Astro kind of allows them to bring components from different frameworks. So then at some point you have the perfect date picker in React. You don't need to go all in aboard with React. You can just bring it in and use it. And then suddenly you have something, and so on. So people like that versatility that Astro brings. And I think to a certain degree, what Solid Start's gonna do is give you the same versatility, but for different purpose. So I would say that today, if I'm going to build a content website, I would choose Astro. But at some point, if I need an app, I go to Solid and Solid Start. And I do think the migration story between the two of them is pretty easy in this case.
Probably. Yeah.
It's not entirely defined, but I think with Vinci it becomes pretty easy and
Yeah.
good to go. So I think it's a nice combo. It's the kind of communities and technologies that they don't alienate, they participate, which is really awesome.
Yeah, it sounds really, really interesting. Like, I'm also very excited to see what Solid Start will be eventually. Like, I know they're still building it, and the first version like was already good, and now they're doing some amazing new things. So I'm really excited about that. Now, you also like mentioned a couple of times Grab Nebula. It's a company you work for, right?
Yeah.
But what do you exactly do there, and what does Grab Nebula exactly do?
So Crab Nebula is a Tauri partner. So it started from the creators of Tauri. So they built this company around, which was in the beginning a consultancy, and they managed to employ a lot of the people from the Tauri working group. So it is a company that has open source in its core. All the work they do, not all the work, but a lot of the work they do is to support development in Tauri, and in a very similar fashion to what Astro does, I would say, where there is a lot of protection around the open source core of the framework.
Yeah, governance.
So Crab Nebula is very strict about the way that Crab Nebula serves Tauri community and not the other way around. This month, I think it was this month, it was finally became official that Crab Nebula is a Tauri partner, which essentially means that we have more dedicated time towards helping Tauri, not that much else. And there is now this migration from Crab Nebula as a company to go from a consultancy to more a product-based company. So we already announced in the newsletter a little bit of the work we're doing in creating a tool to help people build more higher quality Tauri apps. That's the app that I'm working at, which is kind of a dev tools, Chrome dev tools, but for Tauri. So it's gonna allow
Right.
people to tap into instrumentation side of of the Tari app with Rust and stuff like that, investigating IPC and things like this. So we're very close to ship that. So yeah, just keep an eye on this. If you're developing with Tari, go to the Tari Discord. There's a Crab Nebula channel. You can find me there. Essentially, my work is as DevRel engineer. So I do some live streams. I connect with people. I talk a lot about Tari, and I build apps with Tari. So yeah, if you have an idea, if you need help building an app, reach out to me, and I can get you there. And if you have a company that you need more dedicated support, Crab Nebula can do that as well. So that's essentially the whole pitch, I'd say.
So you mentioned that actually Tori helps you create apps for different devices. So how does that kind of compares to Electron or React Native, or is it a mix of both, or?
No, it's there's a fundamental difference where because Tari is essentially Rust, it's way closer to the native system than most of the other ones, and it ships more secure bundles, I'd say, because of all it's very much focused on security, and well, it's Rust, so it's super performant as well. And what Tari does, that's to me is a game changer for a web developer, is that it uses the native web view of the system. So this
So
means
it
that
doesn't ship an entire runtime with it.
correct.
Oh,
It doesn't
that's
ship the
cool.
runtime. It doesn't ship the Node.js runtime. It doesn't ship Chromium. So by default, a hello world with Tauri is like a few hundred kilobytes, whereas with Electron is not even close to that. Because from the get-go, you have Node.js and you have Chromium there. So done. And then what happens now is that in Tauri 1.0, you can, because it's using the native system, you can build for the system that you're working on. So essentially, if you're going to build for Linux, if you're going to build for Windows and you're on a Mac machine, you need a VM. And starting from 2.0, then you can also build for iOS and you can build for Android as well. There are some efforts that we're doing into helping people ship those apps and distribute those apps with a little bit more ease, because if you shipped an app before, you know that code signing can be a little bit complicated, can be a little bit annoying to do and stuff like this. So we want to help people doing that as well. But the first product we're going to launch is with the dev tools, where you essentially have an app that can tap into like a server that your Tari app can expose some instrumentation benchmarks and some instrumentation metrics, where we can help you investigate like if there's any like security issue that you should be aware of, if your configuration is out of place, or if there's something to be optimized there, if there is like how much your IPC calls are taking, and etc. Like a lot of stuff that we can help you essentially debug better your apps, or even profile the performance and stuff like this. But the question was how it compares to the others. So yeah, essentially because of this, and it's not entirely because you have this like the Rust backend, and what the Rust backend is gonna do is run the dev server in this web view, which is like this very thin layer on top of the native web view that we have, and the Rust is gonna run whatever app you have.
Yeah.
So you can have anything as long as it's static site generated. You can even have full stack frameworks like SvelteKit or Next.js or Quick.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Nice.
you can. The thing is, you cannot use the Node.js server in this.
Yeah, the server side stuff. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so like if you have an Next.js app, you cannot have API routes, for example.
Yeah.
Svelte, I think they call it actions and so on. So you do need, if you have a full stack app, you do need to nerf it a little bit. And in terms like using the export and things like this. But, and that's why I mentioned that I think Solid is the best match for this, because with Solid, you can just bring in Solid.js and Solid Web, and you just tell Vite if you want to have SSG, that's fine. If you can do like full client-side rendering anyway. And then everything you have in your node modules are stuff you're using. The thing that I don't like about having like a full stack app on Atari app, and that's my personal opinion, is that you bring a lot of stuff inside your node modules and things, and you need to rely on conventions not to use, because eventually if you're developing, you want to run in the browser for a while, and then you might develop your whole app in the browser and then just call Tauri to check if everything's working. You shouldn't probably do that, because you don't have access to all the native APIs if you're doing that. But anyways, that's possible. And then if you do that on a full stack app, you need to trust yourself to remember not to use some of the tools, or not. Eventually the lines are getting blurred, especially if you're talking about Next.js with server components and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't like the idea of having something at my disposal there that I'm actually encouraged to use if I research on Google or if I ask ChatGPT, but I actually can't because of context specific things.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Thank you for the explanation. I mean, for me, it seems kind of and so it's open source, and like we could, I mean, Tori is open source, and
Yeah,
you could
entirely, yes.
That's cool. Okay, so I think we're almost at the end of our show today. And usually we like to finish our show by asking few future questions, let's say. So the first one is, I think I already know the answer. What are the technologies, libraries that you are most excited about? Apart from
So,
Solid.js, because that I
part of
already
Solid
know.
JS? Okay, so Tauri. So yeah, I'm very excited about Tauri 2.0, because I'm watching very closely and that's very easy for me to say, because I'm not completely involved in that. I'm essentially a consumer of Tauri, but I'm watching very closely all the work that the working group is putting on. And Tauri actually has something that's really cool, where if you like, they build all the APIs in the alpha version. When they consider they're done, they migrate to beta, and then they start a very thorough security audit. And then it's actually one of my colleagues that's I believe leading this effort. His name's Tillman. He's like security. Yeah, he's really good. So a couple of my teammates are actually doing that. Like we have a security team in Crab Nebula, so they're like 4 of them. They're doing the audit. So it's Tillman, Chip, Matthias. Now I'm bad. I shouldn't have started saying names, because I'm gonna forget because it's late. But anyway, they're doing like some really good work, and they're putting a lot of effort. And then once the security audit is complete and it's done and they address everything, it goes into a release candidate. And then it goes into testing. Then they consider the API stable. They do some bug fixes and stuff like that. And then it goes to release. So we are close to the point. I think the security audit's already started. I'm not entirely sure. But if they haven't started now, they should start in a few weeks or so. And that makes me really excited, because with this kind of cycle, whenever they say something's stable, it will be stable.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about trying that out. I know Jonas, a colleague of mine, he already gave a talk at VidConf where he shows how to build some stuff with the alpha version, and the developer experience already looking nice, and it's still like an alpha. So I'm pretty excited about doing that. We've talked a little bit, some colleagues of mine, about having some very nice CLI task where you can just tarify any Vite app you have. So if you have an app that's built with Vite, you can do like npx tarify root, and then it just goes into your app, into your client-side SPA, and just wraps it around Tauri and builds it, and boom, you have a Tauri app.
That is crazy.
So, and that actually works in some cases. We do need to do some extra work. We have plans of open source that eventually, but it already works on the very specific case that we used. So that makes me excited, because that means that you would be able to have a CLI tool that once you ship an app, you have something running even on GitHub Action or whatever, that on CI just distributes your app as a native app, as a web app, as a desktop app, as a mobile app. So that's very exciting. That I've worked in teams before that tried to do something like that with React Native. It's not so easy. If you try that, you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of pain in this. I see Aymen nodding because I know he played around with that. So that's very exciting.
Awesome. And the second question is, how do you see web development in 5 years?
I see web development being led by BeJS, the biggest community conference in Europe.
But the thing is that we actually don't want to become the biggest conference in Europe.
We want to be the best.
We really love...
You're doing a reverse psychology thing around me right now?
No, the thing is that the most beautiful thing that I like about our conferences is the vibe, the really family-like vibe.
Yeah.
And I don't think once you get to maybe over 500 attendees, you lose that. It becomes too much.
What are you talking about? I'm Brazilian Italian. My family has 500 people. You should have seen my grandma Christmas party, man. That's like...
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. Aymen, find another reason. Find another reason.
No, but it's true. I mean, like, I go sometimes to these conferences where you have around 1,000 attendees, and you basically don't... people come in groups, stay in groups, and never open to the others. And then you don't meet people. Speakers come, do their talk, and go somewhere else or go to the speaker's room. Well, in our conferences, usually like it kind of becomes like a family, and we usually even end up partying all together after the conference in a bar or...
I'm not saying anything about this topic.
I think you pretty much established yourself as an alcoholic in the community, Elian.
Damn it. I already was afraid of
Next
this.
BeJS, we're gonna give an intervention.
Yeah.
the entire conference, the entire audience.
Yeah. Just call me on stage.
We're gonna invite him to a panel discussion, and it's gonna be only him.
Oh my God.
I agree. Good plan. Damn. Yeah.
So that's it from our side. Last thing I wanted to ask you, Atila, is how can people reach you? Twitter or how?
Yeah, you can
Facebook,
find me on...
like the oldies.
Yeah, no, not that. No, I only have Facebook, so my mom can stalk me from Brazil. But yeah, you can find me on X or Twitter. It's Atila Fassina, or if it's easier, I have attila.io, and then if you just put / any social network, you're gonna find me there, because it's hard to name things and my handlers change. And yeah, my name is Atila all no double letters, not Hungarian, not Turkish, so it's Atila, which is always generates confusion anyway. So that's why I'm saying this.
That's so true, because every time I look you up on Twitter or something, I always either put 2 T's or 2 L's, and
Yeah,
then I
which,
have to
be
remember.
honest, it would be a much cooler spelling with 2 T's, but Portuguese spelling is just one of each. There's even an accent there that I stopped using because in Europe it just makes people more confused.
Oh, really?
So yeah, the Portuguese spelling has an accent because we say different. Instead of Attila, we say Atila. So
Right.
yeah, so I just stopped using that because everybody was so confused. It would take me 5 minutes to introduce myself.
Right.
So cool. So thank you, Attila. Thank you, Elian. Thank you to everyone in the audience for tuning in. And before I leave, I wanted to let you know again that we have our not feedback, but like advice form ready for React Paris. So just go to react.paris and let us know how you want React Paris to be. You can recommend speakers, you can recommend topics.
Yeah, and also
And the CFP is open,
opens.
man.
Yeah,
and the
we're talking
CFP
about
is
imposter
open.
syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to speak, we would very much welcome you to. Even as a first-time speaker, we would love to have your call for paper in. So
I'd
please
say
do.
especially as a first-time speaker, do it.
Definitely.
Exactly.
I
We
talked
always
with a
have
bunch of
first-time
people.
speakers at our
I
conferences.
talked with a bunch of people in React Brussels. I'm not gonna name names, but you all know who you are. That you should be submitting talks. There were some really smart people in the audience, and yeah.
Definitely.
Awesome. Thank you all again, and see you soon.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.